This first one we're gonna start off with is well, once you have money and power, with that tends to come protections of other kinds. And if you have the ability or footage or, you know, whatever you need to blackmail other people of positions of power or other famous people, then you also might end up having their protection for your own. Like they might do things in order to try to protect you as well, or they might have other people that protect them also try to protect you. But what I'm getting at is everybody knows by now what Diddy's been through, but who is the powers that are protecting him? That's what we're going to check out today. And this video is called The Powers Protecting Diddy, and it's by the YouTube channel TUNDE. And as always, link to the video, link to the channel will both be in the description below. So be sure to check them out. Let's get it.
You may recognize this man on your screen. We've talked about him before, about his weird ways, his wild antics, as well as the numerous lawsuits filed against him. He's been accused of sex trafficking, drugging multiple people, as well as a long history of violence that has left so many victims down on their head. Like this video that was aired by CNN, which I must warn you is pretty disturbing. Here is a deranged Diddy in nothing but a towel chasing his then girlfriend Cassie as she tries to flee from him. And what he does when he catches up to her, well, let's just say it wasn't pretty at all.
New surveillance footage obtained exclusively by CNN appears to corroborate some of the allegations of abuse against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
But between the house raids, his well-documented crimes, and this glaring piece of evidence on tape, anybody in Diddy's shoes right now would have a 9x6 rusty prison cell waiting for them in Alcatraz. But the thing is, Diddy isn't just anybody. He has money, he has fame and connections, which so far keeps him a free man. How come if it was me and you that committed these crimes, we'd be locked up, but since it's Diddy, he's still free? Even
I mean, there is. You answered the question before you asked it. It's because he has money and fame, and well, the power and connections, and probably also blackmail material. So that's exactly why it's him that's not locked up. And if it was me or you, it would be us that was locked up.
his associate, like this drug mule who was moving weight for him, is still a free man, despite being found with cocaine and even marijuana. With this level of man, despite being found with
a man alleged to be Sean Diddy Combs' mule won't be facing jail time after being caught with cocaine and marijuana gummies on a plane at Opa-locka Executive Airport as federal agents were raiding the rapper's homes earlier this year. On March 25th, Brandu Paul was getting ready to board one of Diddy's private jets. The Miami-Dade police officers stopped him. They found a small amount of cocaine and 16 marijuana gummies. But he's not going to be doing jail time? Yo.
Cocaine and even marijuana. With this level of immunity being shown to Diddy and his associates, you have to ask, will Diddy ever go to jail? Or will this yet be another case of the rich and powerful escaping the hands of the law? The rich jail cell. If it does come down to it that Diddy does end up in jail, one would have to imagine what it would be like for someone like him. I mean, imagine going from parties on luxury yachts and private jets to rusty toilet and stomach-turning grub, from playing hype man for your son.
That's his baby boy, go baby. That's my baby boy, go baby. That's my baby boy, go baby.
To being locked up in a maximum security prison where you only get to see your son once or possibly twice a year. Most people, and by most I mean the rich, would probably pay anything to avoid that fate. And so the same way you have your Motel 6 and 5-star resorts is the same way you have prisons for the poor and for the rich. For those with enough money, some prisons in the US offer what is known as paid-to-stay programs, where inmates can pay for upgraded accommodations. These range from private cells with can pay for. In the US offer what is known as paid-to-stay.
In the United States, pay-to-stay is the practice of charging prisoners for their accommodations in jail. The prison accumulated by prisoners who are then unable to repay the debt, allowing their release.
state programs where inmates can pay for upgraded accommodations. These range from private cells with comfortable beds, televisions, computers, to services like yoga classes and even gourmet meals.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they are eating better than you and I in prison. Take hip-hop choreographer Shane Sparks for example.
Bro, it's no wonder some people aren't. It's no wonder that there's a lot of wealthy people who aren't really afraid to get caught, like, you know, doing whatever they want to do. And that's why, that's even why they're willing to do things that they know they shouldn't do because they might get prison time for it. It doesn't matter if they go to prison. They'll be like, well, I'm just gonna, either I'll have a luxury prison or I just won't go to prison. It's like, bro, what?
He was convicted in 2011 of having with a preteen girl. He served his 2-year sentence and he paid to stay city jail. During that time, he continued to work and travel internationally like a free man who wore his own clothes, brought his own food and bedding, and was allowed to edit music on his computer. The jail charged them $100 per day for their accommodations, and according to him, it felt more like a retreat than actual prison time. You have Luisi Nadar.
Bro got a vacation for having sex with a preteen girl. He was supposed to do prison time, but the dude got a vacation. All right.
An 18-year-old from a wealthy family in Newport Beach, California. He crashed his Ferrari cousin who was riding with him and seriously injuring 2 passengers in a tow truck. Prosecutors alleged that he was speeding, and in 2012 he pleaded guilty to felony vehicle manslaughter. Normally, someone like this would be locked up in a state prison with no parole for years. Instead, he spent 6 months in a pay-to-state jail, which his family paid $18,000 for. In this jail, he'd wake up in the morning, make his bed, and go into the kitchen to make his own breakfast. He took care of everything: laundry, linens, cleanings, the work orders, and he was also his own cook. During his downtime, while other inmates could not go outside and see the sun, he would pray. He was able to read novels, play cards. In the yard, he was able to play basketball. There was a TV room and even a DVD library. He was able to watch Friends, Prison Break, and other shows that regular inmates might not be able to see. Let's just say, with enough fame, you can even book yourself a spot in a special celebrity prison, like Martha Stewart, who served their 2004 prison sentence in a facility known as Camp Cupcake, where inmates live in fancy cottages, have access to swimming pools and even tennis courts. And even in the instance where the rich and powerful do end up in regular jail, you best believe their people outside would be working overtime to get them out. Like Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former partner, who has been moving from prison to prison. At first, she was locked up in a rough detention center in Brooklyn, which included a 23-hour lockdown and limited amenities. Before long, she would then be transferred to a less strict correctional institution where she can now take music lessons and learn how to bake. And according to recent report, she's earned herself a spot in the prison for being on her best behavior. And just like Diddy, her lawyers are working hard to get her out of jail altogether, which might be what Diddy would be plotting his circle to do if he ever gets arrested.
I mean, he's already plotting on them to do just that in case he does get arrested. But imagine if we forced them to go through the same things as, you know, people without money, as poor people or middle class people. Imagine if we forced the rich to go through this, to face the same punishments that everyone has to face. Like, no pay to whatever, pay to play, pay to live, whatever prisons. No level ups, no luxury prisons. You need to sit in a 9x5 cell or whatever, have cellmates and daylight, however severe the punishment is. That's exactly what they have to go through. None of this luxury prison BS or this Camp Cupcake BS. None of that. If we forced them, if they were forced to go through the same things as middle class and poor people when they committed crimes and they got in trouble, do you think that all these other rich people would be would be so careless and even willing to commit crimes and do things that would put them behind bars. Like, obviously they wouldn't do that just because they wouldn't want to go through the same things that normal people go through in jail. They wouldn't want that experience, but for them it's like a little getaway. It's like a little retreat. It's like a little, all right, well, I got caught. Oh, you got me. All right, guess I'll go on vacation. Bruh.
Diddy's powerful circle. Diddy has always surrounded himself with powerful friends and allies. We're talking about billionaires like Jay-Z and Oprah, famous actors like Will Smith, Ashton Kutcher, and even presidents like Obama, Trump, and Biden. But what exactly does Diddy do for these friends and allies? The answer is simple. He scratches their backs, and they also scratch his.
It's 2020, y'all. Yeah. And it's different than when it was 2016. You know, the game has been elevated. As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaires lunch. Yeah. You understand? Right. And we here together, and we're gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter. You know what I'm saying? And united we stand. And ain't nothing else to us. Black excellence. Right.
Oh man, didn't Jay-Z have a song called Black Excellence?
Black excellence, opulence, decadence.
And also, doesn't, you know, in Jay-Z's, I think it was his 444 album, what's better than 1 billionaire? 2. And what's something like, what's better than 1 billionaire? 2, and if they look like me and you, something like that. I forgot how it goes.
What's better than 1 billionaire? 2, especially if they from the same hue as you.
And ain't nothing else to us. Black excellence. Right.
Between Bad Boy Records and Revolt, it's safe to say that Diddy has a lot of influence in the Hollywood and entertainment. Revolt is a cable company, which is also Diddy's very own founded company. On Revolt's YouTube channel, they offer a podcast from various industry celebrities, while Bad Boy Records was a record label that had Biggie and many other 90s artists. With these two portfolios, it's safe to say that Diddy has a lot of influence in Hollywood and entertainment. He can promote anything he wants by featuring it in his music videos. Any topic he covers on Revolt ends up reaching millions of viewers. If he wears something today, it won't be long before others begin wearing the same thing. Politicians, actors, and other high-profile individuals crave this type of influence. Take Biden for example. Imagine him telling Diddy, hey, tell your people to go vote for me. And just like that, Diddy's fans are at his pose. Or think about an actor who wants more eye on their latest movie. They might get Diddy to cover the movie on Revolt, driving more people to the theaters. And with each favor Diddy pulls for them, the more favors he earns for himself, to the point where all Diddy needs is just a phone call to make things happen for himself.
You think I could book that for like the weekend of the 14th when the soundtrack comes out? If so, bump somebody. I love you, man. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes!
He wanted to make sure they didn't hear him.
What's next? What's next? I gotta get it. I'm not gonna stay down. I'm not gonna stay down. I'm not. I can't do it, man. I can't do that. What's next? Give me something else. What can't you do? I can do it. I can do anything.
So if there ever was a time for Diddy to start making those calls, it is now. Because ever since those mansion raids, it would seem like his whole world might be crumbling right in front of his eyes.
I mean, true, but at the same time, like, at what point do you get in so much trouble that the people that owe you these favors, you know, they just like try to cut ties with you and be like, yo, I don't know that person. And then obviously, you know, Diddy might have footage of them doing sexual things at one of his Diddy diddler parties, whatever. But if they were careful enough, or if they were able to get that footage back or whatever, just like, hey, or if the cops already had it, they can just pretty much cut ties with Diddy. But then at the same time, if he does go, you know, to court or whatever, or prison, whatever, let's be real, prison, probably not gonna happen. But if he did go to court or be questioned and he tried to point somebody out, what if the other person was powerful enough to be like, nah, they weren't involved? I don't know. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, what if somebody was powerful enough to be able to cut ties with Diddy and be like, yo, I don't owe you any favors now that you've hit this level of a fallout? Like, what happens then? But did Diddy hit that level yet, or will he?
I guess you wonder what's gonna happen next, Diddy. I know.
He didn't want to point the camera at him when he was walking towards him, looking at him.
It looks to me like he's
the camera starts going down.
Contact on his phone to call. But the question still is, how does Diddy circle protect them? The protection of the rich.
Okay, what's up?
Imagine a video game being played by thousands, if not millions of people. The game is difficult and people are struggling to get past the first boss.
Elden Ring?
And most who do get past the first boss, they have to grind hours to pull this off.
See, now that's some
One day, you go online and you see this big streamer who is cruising past bosses and is about to finish the game. At first, you might be envious of their skill, but then you do the math and realize they have actually been playing this game for a long time.
Thousands
then you
of
see
hours
another
sometimes.
player. Some of the gear they're using isn't even discoverable in the game. You then log into your account, you see the exclusive store, and you see the gear. They are priced way out of your league. Meaning that if you had as much money as that streamer, you would probably have the same kind of results.
If you were willing to put in the time and money.
Hit her one time!
Buy more.
Bro, what the fuck?
Such a system like this is,
I mean, that's why you got, to be honest, I have to respect live streamers who play games that have like, you know, pay to win, or that have the ability to where you can buy anything, buy things, or sink money into stuff and get stuff. I have to respect live streamers who play those games as free to play. Because then it's like, all right, bro, you could sink the money into it and just get whatever you're trying to look for and make the game much easier, or whatever you want to do. But I gotta respect you for not doing it. Like, who can't respect you for not doing it?
what's called a pay to win, where players can buy better gear to gain an advantage. So it isn't about skill or even time invested. The winners in this game are simply those who buy the best gears. This is just how the American justice system operates, just worse. Like, imagine a game where beyond buying the best gear, you can even call the game mods whenever you get stuck. A system where with enough money, you can change the rules of the game to suit your needs. Because you've paid to win, you get the jump button when other players don't even have a button to jump. Your health never depletes no matter how much you're hit. And should you somehow get caught, you can simply press the reset button and start again with the same exclusive perks. This is pay to win. This is what Diddy's powerful circle have in protecting him.
Right, and even though it's pay to win, doesn't matter if it's pay to win, because you have the money to sink into it and try to get yourself out of the trouble that you found yourself in.
How, you might ask? Well, that answer is plain and simple. You see, the people who are quote and unquote after Diddy, from the politicians who make the laws, to the prosecutors and judges who interpret them, to the police officers that enforce them, they are all a part of the same social network as Diddy. In a way, these people are the game mods that Diddy can call whenever he needs to raid the system. On the outside, they are raiding his mansion, we see it, but on the inside, they might be brokering deals with him as we speak. They might be taking money under the table, they might be passing each other money behind each other's backs. After all, many of them either hold him favors or have deals running with him. So would it be in their best interest to lock him up? For instance, take Obama for example. The 44th US president, man's known for smiling a lot, for speaking like this.
Some of the most successful people in the world are the ones who've had the most failures.
And even his basketball skills. During this man's presidency, Obama relied on Diddy's influence to garner more votes. Obama didn't know how he was going to get into the black community. He wanted more votes from black people. Diddy was the closest influence to black people. Diddy was vocal about support, mobilized young voters through his Vote or Die campaign.
I'm gonna be announcing something that, very big if they don't stand up and talk about how things are going to change for voting blocks that they're going for, that'll put them in office. They need the African American voting bloc. They're not bringing up the issues and they're not making strong enough commitments for our votes. So we have to be undecided, we have to hold our votes, and we have to just hear what they have to say. And tomorrow, if they don't talk about what they're gonna do for our communities that are in such dire service, that we're gonna have something to say about that will kind of teach and educate from my perspective of, starting Vote or Die and being involved in how I'm disenfranchised with not seeing enough attention to a voting bloc that is just kind of guaranteed people count their votes without dealing with their issues. So we can't guarantee anybody, Hillary Clinton, to vote. We can't guarantee Donald Trump to vote. We have to make sure that they're talking about our issues. That's how the game is played. We're going to make the difference, and we're going to be educating people. But we hope that they recognize it and they speak on it, so we're going to see. But if not, it's something that's going to be done more powerful than Vote or Die.
Diddy also.
So what happens if, because of your newfound criminal history, because of your newfound criminal records, because of all these newfound accusations that are coming in and hitting Diddy, that he starts to lose the influence of the people, and so therefore the other powers that be, like other powers that be, can't come to him like, hey, I need influence from the black community. Can you get me that? Well, now he won't be able to get them that. So I guess he can't make any newer connections, but it's like he's already got all the connections he needs, so it doesn't really, I guess that doesn't really matter. It just has to get to a point where he's falling hard enough that people want to detach themselves, and people would want, or those same protections would want to detach themselves and would want to be like, whether or not Diddy can blackmail them or not, they would have to really be willing to risk wanting to let whatever he has out in order to save themselves from something, from him falling so hard, from that connection. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. When he's putting the way he's putting it, it's highly unlikely that Diddy will face jail. I'm pretty sure most of you already knew that, but damn. So it's really like, once you have all the money and the power, even if you don't have the respect, but you may have some connections and you may have some blackmail material, then you may be able to pay your way or pay to win out of any trouble you find yourself in. Unless it's gotta get to the point where that trouble gets like so bad that that everybody just leaves you, right? There's gotta be a point. There's gotta be a ceiling.
Also did the same thing for Biden in 2020, and the results? A lot more black voters showed up and casted their votes. So it's safe to say that Diddy does have a firm establishment with politicians. These connections though, because he has them, they will ensure lenient punishments for his crime. Instead of Diddy going away for 50 years, he might just go for 5 years. Having been in business with Diddy, it would be in their best interest that he doesn't get taken down.
Oh, I guess also, because of his connections, they could, like, whoever wants the influence, right, could come to him like, hey Diddy, I need, I need the black influence to do this. Can you reach out to your connection? So I guess Diddy doesn't have to be the face of the person doing it. He can reach out to his other connections and still move things around behind the scenes. And so those people would still probably want to protect him as well. Damn, bro, this is...
So in a way,
it's gonna be
Diddy's
rough.
survival is kind of linked to theirs. And mind you, this isn't just a Diddy thing, it's everywhere. Look at Bill Clinton, who was impeached for lying under oath but faced 0 criminal charges. Wells Fargo executives, who created millions of fraudulent accounts and were just fired and even receiving stimulus packages.
Bruh.
Harvey Weinstein
They weren't
evading
jailed?
justice for years despite clips and videos online showing him abusing teenagers on set. Why? Because maybe those who were supposed to protect the people might also be involved in these crimes. Like Facebook investigating itself for data theft when it's been reported that they take our data. I mean, is this rocket science? I mean, is this not established? And even if the trial system runs
I've investigated myself and I found nothing wrong.
smoothly without any interference, there's a saying that America has one of the best justice systems that money can buy. Or maybe we should cross that out and say America has one of the best justice system that money and connections can buy. Because if you look at the case of O.J. Simpson in 1994, evidence of his guilt mounted up to Everest. I mean, this guy had from the scene pointing at him, to the hair from one of the victim's shirts, to the shoe prints found at the scene.
These are 5 reasons why O.J. Simpson did it. Number 1 is the DNA evidence. O.J. Simpson's footprints were at the crime scene, and his hair follicles. Also, there was a glove at O.J. Simpson's house that contained the blood of the 2 victims, and also the victim's in his car. Number 2 is the infamous car chase. On the day of his arrest, O.J. Simpson led the LAPD on a chase for hours. Now, if this wasn't incriminating, I don't know what is. Number 3 is his change of alibi. First, he said he was asleep during the but then later said he was hitting golf balls outside of his house. Number 4 is the motive. He had plenty of motive, the wife, because she called the police on him multiple times for hitting, stalking, and degrading her. All signs that he was quite capable of committing. Number 5 is that he released a book titled If I Did It, explaining step by step how he would commit if he did it. Now him doing this just screams guilty.
Why
Despite
would he?
everything.
Bro, why? It's kind of like mocking the system and saying, yeah, I got away with it in a way. Like, let's say he did do it. I'm like, obviously I can't say he did it. Legally, I can't say it, but why would you write a book saying if I did it, which is kind of like mocking the system? And let's say he did do it. It's like, haha, I got away with it. But anyway.
And all of these evidences, it screamed one thing.
All right, Mr. Simpson, would you please stand and face the jury? Mrs. Robertson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
OJ's wealth allowed him to hire the dream team, the best lawyers money could buy, and this worked in his favor. He walked free, earned millions of dollars, and wrote a book called If I Did It, which even blew my mind when it became a bestseller, whereas his victim's family never got justice. Which takes me to my conclusion. The way I see it, the chances of Diddy paying for his crimes are pretty slim. There are just so many ways he can wiggle out of his punishment if he ever does get punished. We've seen cases where charges are dropped, felonies disappear, and people plead to a summary offense, with the case getting closed. Witnesses and victims of crimes can be paid off to not testify. Witnesses can be paid off to change their story. And with Diddy, he's already proven that he has a very solid legal team behind him, like how he escaped that gun and bribery charge with Mace in 2001 and Jennifer Lopez, or even a settlement with Cassie in 2023. And if you look at his case with Lil Rodney in this video that I did, that also looks to be heading towards a settlement. And even if Diddy somehow, some way, somewhat, against all odds, gets convicted and is sent to a real public prison, there's always ways he can still escape his full imprisonment. just like
or just have a
Maxwell.
luxury imprisonment.
And with his long history of political campaigns and donations, you can bet he might be one of the first names on the presidential pardon list, especially if it's a party that he's long campaigned for.
Bruh. So, yeah, you don't even need respect. You just need the money and power and connections, and then you might be able to escape anything. And that's why people feel like they can get away with anything. And that's why they are willing to do the things that they know they shouldn't be doing, because they can just get away with it anyway. Like if all in all, if it all comes down to it, Diddy might just have to step away from the limelight for a bit, and that until everything calms down. That's probably gonna be it. If he, like he said, if he does do prison time, then on a slim chance that he does do prison time, then he probably will have just a very limited time, or even that a luxury, you know, prison time at one of the Camp Cupcake or whatever, like just like a slap on the wrist and just don't do it again, or at least don't get caught again, and that's it. So, but then I have to bring it back to what I said before. Imagine if these rich, wealthy, famous people were forced to experience prison as if they were just normal people, average people. They would be less inclined to commit all the crimes that they do, in order to avoid having to go back and suffer that same prison sentence, that same prison time, the actual feeling of being in prison. Like they wouldn't want to do that shit anymore. But since they know that they can either get away with it or just have a small, like, you know, stint in prison, or in a luxury cell, or in whatever, then they're not going to worry about it. They're just going to keep doing whatever they want to do and committing crimes. And I don't know, man, that's something society needs to change, but I doubt it's something that will ever be changed. It'll be nice, but so anyway, that's all for this YouTube video. Don't forget to check out Tunde. Link to his channel, link to his video will be in the description below. And yeah, don't forget to do those 3 things I like to ask you to do, and like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell for more videos. Yeah. And you know what it is after that. In case I don't see you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Peace and much love to you.